Bonjour. In this video, I will showcase my second entry for the parametric object challenge, and this entry will be a modular furniture. So this kind of furniture is a concept created by a known manufacturer, and that is based around spheres and cylinders that are screwed with each other, and then create a frame that can be quite wide or quite high to create furniture, and in which it will have casings or facade to eventually close some of the modules. So here, this is the basic module. We can be resized in width, in depth, and in height as well, according to a specific number of value. But the idea is not to have one single module, is to have several. So how do I do so? Well, I just go to the option, and I have here a matrix. The matrix will help me add columns or rows the way I want. For example, if I want to simply have one column, one big column, for example, well, I can. If I want to have, here I will resize it. If I want to have several columns here with different number of rows, then it is also possible. I just need to use the pluses and minuses accordingly. And here. So when I add additional modules, I also have additional hotspots. Those additional hotspots help me resize the column the way I want, and the rows as well. For example, if I want a row only for drawers that way, well, this here is the minimum height, and I can see that, well, I will be able to have drawers on that specific row. I can do that in 3D. I believe it's more user-friendly to do it that way, but I can as well do it on the matrix, where I can see here the different dimensions. So the sizes are in millimeter, obviously, and for example here, when I put 500, it's 500 millimeters, so 50 centimeters. Here, for example, I will put them all at 500 that way. And I'm not really satisfied with this shape, so I will simply create something that is quite standard. For example, a 5x3 here furniture. When I am okay with this, I have one more thing to do before putting the cases, is to decide if it's wall-based furniture or floor-based furniture. If it is a floor base, then the furniture cannot be directly onto the floor. It would need some support. For example, pads that way, or have wheels if it's the furniture is supposed to be movable. For example, if I have some shelves that can be moved around my office, well, maybe it's better to have wheels rather than have pads. But if, for example, I'm not doing a floor-based furniture, then I do not put any kind of support, but then I can simply align it with the wall and use the elevation value here to create my shelf, for example. And if I am okay with that, then I can go on and then add some casings. How do I do that? Well, I will simply use the matrix that has two purposes. First is to create and set up the frame, and also to select the module. So the module can be selected by all, for example, by clicking this checkbox. It can be selected by rows. It can also be selected by column, and can also obviously be selected individually simply by clicking on the module that I want to modify. So for this demo, we will simply do it as a whole. That should be enough. So if I want to create chairs, I select the casing that I want, and then I apply them. Then I can obviously change the color if I want to. In that way, I have proper chairs. I can here, for example, decide to simply have nothing on the middle part. I apply, and then here it will not be really useful for that column, but it's possible. If I want to have this kind of views here, I can decide to still have shells, but to have them glazed. And that way we can see that now I have a glazed shell. I can also decide, for example, to have the middle row be fully enclosed with all the casings and also an opaque facade. Here, oops, forgot to apply. Okay. Here I will simply have to put here a new color, and now I have my middle row the way I want. Here I can also change the color of that row specifically. Yeah, what I mean is that what is selected is what will be impacted by the option. So if I just want to change the color on that one, then I just need to do that. And as well, I could eventually put it back bare here up if I need it, and without any facade. That way. So the idea of this furniture is really, you know, for architect or interior designer. This kind of concept is really something that is aimed at some kind of luxury design, and it's really a fun product that can be customized the way I want. You know. So, for example, if I do not want something like that and want something that looks more like a pyramid, then I will just redesign the frame. When I'm okay with it and the dimension, then I can go back, select what I need to change, and eventually here change the color here and add a facade. For example, we will put a glazed facade for that one here. So it's also possible as well. So that is all for this object. I hope that you like the demo and the video, and that you will also like the other entry as much as this one. Bye.